Hello viewers, here is a Sony boombox. This is model CFD-760. This was manufactured in July of 1990, made in Japan, and this would have been a pretty expensive piece of equipment back in its day. It has a lot of different features. It's a huge unit. Let's see exactly how big it is here. About 28 inches wide, 10 inches tall. It has a CD player, which would have been pretty new still. I believe CDs came out in the commercial market in 1982, I want to say. So they weren't brand new still, but they were definitely in their earlier days of existence, because it's not like today where a new technology comes out and it's everywhere within a week. In 1982, 1985, 1990, the stuff was adapted a lot slower than it is today. So CDs would have been in their early prime, if you will. There's that. We have two cassette players, AM/FM tuner, and this one has, I believe it records to a CD or cassette. It does have a microphone or line-in option, local and distance radio reception. I'm not exactly sure what this does to how it picks up the radio, but there's that, which is kind of unusual. This, I'm not really sure what that is. Probably read the manual. It takes a whopping 10 D batteries, and it is D as in don't tell me it takes C's. And it also has a mess of corrosion in there. A slot for 3 AA cell batteries, and I believe that is to hold the time on the clock. Unfortunately, the AAA batteries were completely corroded, and you can see there's some residue in there from the corrosion. I got to clean that out. Came with D batteries in it, but those weren't corroded, fortunately. This is heavy too. Let's see here. So we have CD, tuner, dubbing, and tape. So you could mix the line in, which could be a microphone or audio track or whatever, over something that was playing and record it. Headphone jack. This would have come with a remote, which I unfortunately don't have. It's in pretty good condition. The only thing that's missing is one of these buttons, which very well may have fallen inside there. I don't know. We got two cassettes. I'm not sure if either one works. I'm sure the belts are probably not any good after nearly 30 years. Yeah, that's that. Telescoping 4-piece antenna, which is quite long. Digital tuning. Now this has an actual equalizer on it instead of that ridiculous tone control thing that a lot of Sony models had. So this you can actually amplify or remove different frequency ranges. It's obviously not really the greatest because you're only working with 3 different sweeps. It's 10K, 1K, and then 100 Hertz. But it's a lot better than that. What was it called? I don't even know what it was called. Tone control thing. Space sound is kind of weird. Actually, that makes a big difference. I'm not sure what that does exactly. I think it just amplifies a certain set of frequencies. Here's all the CD settings. And yeah, let's go ahead and turn it on. Starts off on AM. Change it to FM. Let's see here. I'll switch it to CD. I actually don't have any CDs on hand at the moment. But let's just see if it wants to. Let's see if it spins up. It says no disc, so it must be kind of working at least. Let's go down to tape and see. It actually came with a cassette in it, this one. This is entitled The Potter's Hands, Reverend Sherman Driver. So this is probably a sermon. Beacon Hill Church. I've actually been there. I'm not sure if that church is still around, but I've been there years ago. But let's see if we can play this cassette. I hear something in there, but it's not moving. Oh, I also played the wrong one. Oh, good grief, it's getting late. Well, unfortunately, I can say the same thing about this one. I can hear it moving in there, but it's not, nothing's happening. Let's see if this one works any better. Probably needs new belts by now. Yeah, that's not working. Yeah, it's spinning down there, but it's not spinning at the top, so it's probably going to just need new belts, which is probably not too hard to replace. So we can't test that, but let's test the radio. I do have a station set up playing some what I think is loyalty-free music, so hopefully we can listen to that and not have the copyright police come after me. And I'm transmitting at 88 megahertz, go up to there, and there it is. So I'm going to set this all to neutral here just for the moment. And of course the quality of this playback is all going to depend on what you're listening through it to, as well as the fact that YouTube is probably going to destroy the quality of the audio when it compresses it. So you'll have to just kind of take my word for it that this sounds really good. So you can see that the equalizer is actually useful on this unit, and depending on what kind of music you're listening to or vocals or whatever, you can certainly draw out the sound that you want. And I gotta say, it sounds really good. You can distinctly hear all the frequencies, the entire spectrum on there. Now, we are downstairs in the basement here, so I don't suspect we'll get a lot of channels, but we'll scan through here and see what it picks up. I guess that channel's blank. We do have a tuning indicator here and a stereo indicator. I think pretty much all the stations are stereo by now, but perhaps there's some that aren't, I don't know. Yeah, we're not going to get much sound here. We'll just go to a few that I know are local.
Before, while supplies last, excludes a lot.
That's going to be copyright.
Approval rate.
Well, that's weird. Why is my station coming in through so many different frequencies? That's weird. Maybe we should change this switch over to local and see what happens. No, it's not getting it. So it does definitely make a difference. I just don't know what difference, how it makes a difference.
What got you there in the first place?
Okay, we're not getting a whole lot of frequencies down here.
I want you to go ice cream man.
But anyways, that's, I expect that because we're in the basement. Anyways, off. Anyways, so there we go. That's that. Kind of interesting to see how the means of music, or listening to music rather, hasn't really changed all that much over the past 30 years, aside from the cassettes going pretty much obsolete, and albeit the CDs are on their way as well. If you want to buy physical music in a store somewhere, it's going to be on a CD. That's still really the current physical format for music. Obviously, you put music on a hard drive or a flash drive, anything that can store data now. But as far as purchasing music, if you're a collector or whatever, people nowadays still do buy CDs. So that's still around. Obviously, the AM/FM radio is still around. And as I mentioned before, this does in fact have a line in. So you can take any device that has an audio output jack and you can plug it in and play it through here. So although this unit was made 30 years ago, and it obviously features the obsolete technology of the cassette, it's still very current and very usable today. So that's going to be it for this one. Another cool unit to have. Definitely going to get some good use out of this one. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, and out.